Hey guys, it's Alesha Brown, the Joy Guru, also the CEO of Fruition Publishing Concierge Services. And I just wanted to come by today for a quick dose of inspiration. In my meditation time this morning, I was starting with scriptures. And of course, I started with Genesis chapter 1. And it was like the first 2 to 3 verses. There was so much meat in it that I abruptly stopped and couldn't go further. And I thought it was a lesson on separation that was so important to share because it's also a lesson that we're continuing on in week 2 for the Reignite Your Flame Within program, that 30-day laser coaching and focus program. Last week, we were talking about identifying the roots of things that are holding us back. This week, I want to address, now that we know some of those roots, separation. Separation. What do you think of when you hear the word separation? Because so often it has a negative connotation. You know, you hear that word separation, we can think about a job loss, we can think about divorce or a breakup, death, or even surgery. You think about when they make the incision, there's certain things that have to be separated, even the tearing of the skin, before things are made well or put back together or restored. So separation, a lot of times for us, has a negative connotation. Some of us live our life a certain way to avoid separation. However, if you read Genesis chapter 1 and those first 3 verses, there's just some juicy nuggets I want to share with you. And if you don't remember this all, it's okay, because I will write a blog post on it with these key points. So stay tuned to the Joy Guru page, thejoyguru.net, because my blog area will have that probably in about 24 hours. But anyway, since the beginning of time, separation has been instrumental in the creation of all things. You may have never looked at it like this, but after I share this with you, you absolutely will. You may even start welcoming separation. Here's why. Genesis chapter 1, the first thing that God did was he created heaven and earth. It tells you that in verse 1. But immediately following that, verse 2 tells you, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. So I want you to catch this and how it applies to our everyday life, especially our dreams and visions. Earth existed, but it was without form. It was void. In common terms, that means from a surface view. From a surface view. There was no defined seas, oceans, lakes, or rivers, and neither was there any discernible land masses. So it didn't look like much of anything. Some of y'all are catching this already. The account goes on to say that there was darkness upon the face of the deep. And how many times have you looked at certain areas of your life, whether it's your goals or your dreams or your desires, and you just felt like there's nothing there, nothing's forming, nothing's coming together, nothing's defined, there's no light. You may even be in a very dark place because of that, and you're trying to get your way out to where you want to be. But we all would do well to remember this story of creation, because the first thing the scripture tells you in chapter 1 of Genesis was that God created the heavens and earth. That's referenced first, and then immediately coming after that is telling you this condition of what it was before he did creation. The condition was that earth was existing without form, it was void, and there was darkness. But what proceeds is what's more important. And it's the same thing as far as what proceeds in our life if we feel like we're in this situation. It says that the Spirit of God moved. And that's where God was able to continue the work of his hands in creation. So I'm not preaching religion to you, but if you do claim any faith at all, the lesson you'll learn from this is that it really doesn't matter what seems to be dark, what seems to be void, what seems to be shapeless in your life if God moves. And then what happens after he moves? Well, you can continue on in the scriptures and it'll tell you that. If you really go through that first chapter of Genesis, it's going to tell you all the things that were formed. Everything that we enjoy today are able to do is because of the creation story. But it came from a place where it appeared to be nothing, from that outside view, from that initial view, from what the eye could see. It appeared there was nothing. It appeared to be dark. So I just wanted to come by with that quick motivation to encourage you today that everything from clarity to creation cannot exist first without separation. So sometime in those dark hours where it feels like everybody's leaving, or, everything was cool until I made this move and now people don't seem to support me, or, I just had everything together till I went to this level and now I feel confused and lost. Perhaps that separation is necessary in order for you to gain your clarity. So don't look at separation from this point forward as something negative, because it doesn't matter what it looked like. If God actually moves, the Bible talks about in Romans 4:17 that we should call those things that are not as though they were. And if you really read verses 16 through 18, it was unto death. So God is like the master of taking things that appear to be dead and giving them life. So what you need to do is call those things in your life that you desire, and it seems like they're dark. It seems like it's void. It seems like it's not going to happen. You need to call those things that are not as though they were. And you need to understand that sometimes there has to be a separation process in order for certain things to be birthed. So that's my lovely few moments with you today, give you some information, giving you some inspiration, but more importantly, giving you thoughts of transformation. Because it's not just knowledge that has power, it's knowledge that is applied, and it's knowledge that is properly applied in your life that's going to make the biggest difference, and transform yourself and your mindset into what you really desire and where you really need to be. So as always, I wish you joy unspeakable, and bye-bye for now from Alesha Brown, the Joy Guru.